2019 Land Rover Range Rover Velar SUV Review. The good points of Land Rover Range Rover Velar SUV. Great looking SUV that oozes class. High-tech, premium interior. Fabulous long-distance capability. The bad points of Land Rover Range Rover Velar SUV. Uninspiring four-cylinder engines. No hybrid option until no less than 2020. Premium price, and expensive options. The Range Rover Velar was conceived to plug the gap between your Range Rover Evoque along with the Range Rover Sport, and stay sprinkled with all the premium market stardust that creates these cars to square out in the crowd. It sits low and wide, with almost estate car proportions, but regardless of this car-like stance, it's underpinned by Land Rover's undoubted expertise in 4x4 technology. If you're after the good-looking hunker-down SUV that may off-road while using best of them, the Velar should suit your purposes. It's aimed squarely for the Porsche Macan, BMW X4 and Mercedes-Benz GLC Coupe. Yet, nonetheless has an elevated seating position that leaves the driving force imperiously lording it over more humble cars, core on the appeal of any Range Rover. Before the arrival on the Range Rover Velar, you may well have questioned the requirement for a fourth model within the company's lineup. But the sales success in this intriguingly named premium SUV has proved the doubters wrong. Range Rover Velar, prices, specs and models. The average Evoque with some optional extras added leaves the showroom as being a £45,000 car. The conventional Range Rover Sport costs around £70,000. Range Rover reckons there's a gap there, and also the Velar is aimed squarely in internet marketing. It's priced between around £45,000 for your entry-level diesel and £85,000 to the top model because of the bells and whistles. But the Velar is a lot more than just a workout in market segmentation. It's an amazing new interpretation with the Range Rover brand. As such, Oahu is the latest step within the long evolution on the utilitarian 4x4 of 1970, with plastic seats, to your 21st century luxury GT. It's also clear proof that Land Rover is pushing its Range Rover offshoot like a standalone premium marque to perform battle with some in the best cars inside the world. Range Rover Velar, a gorgeous looking SUV. The move from off-road to premium begins using the way that the Range Rover Velar seems like, and just how the company has evolved the way in which its products look. With the Velar, many experts have a conscious technique of smoothing the looks, stripping away fussy details to develop a futuristic look. It's also essentially the most aerodynamic car Land Rover has ever produced. There's an abundance of lovely details, including the slender LED headlights, and also the flush-fitting door handles that kick off when you unlock it. These felt cheap on early cars, but careful development now implies that these door handles operate with all the chunky precision of the company's most premium rivals. It looks dynamic too, featuring its tapered tail and raked-back windscreen. Altogether there's a resemblance of a perception car from the Velar's purity, and it also makes the other Range Rovers look positively frumpy compared. What's underneath the Range Rover Velar's skin? The Velar will be based upon the same floor plan because Jaguar F-Pace, with double wishbone front suspension and multi-link rear with an excellent ride and decent handling. Land Rover's air suspension is surely an option about the four-cylinder models and standard around the V6s. There are 6 engines in whole, 3 turbodiesels with 180 horsepower, 240 horsepower plus a 300 horsepower 3.0-litre V6, and 3 petrol engines, a 250 horsepower 4-cylinder, a 300 horsepower V6 as well as a top with the Range supercharged V6 that pumps out 380 horsepower. Combine that while using aluminium-intensive monocoque, which ensures you keep the weight down, and 4-wheel drive grip, plus the Velar delivers strong performance. The best version will sprint from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds. What's the Range Rover Velar like inside? Like the outer, the Velar's interior is really a design triumph. The dashboard is dominated by two 10-inch color touch screens that really work in tandem. The top of one is usually a more conventional sat-nav screen, as the lower the first is integrated into your center console with curved edges such as a modern phone screen. The rotary dials are multifunctional, their graphics changing according for the settings you're changing. They're tactile and grippy, modeled on lenses. Despite a sleeker roofline as well as a more reclined screen, the driving position is pure Range Rover. You sit high with great visibility, hands gripping a sculpted, chunky wheel. Options to increase the lightness on the interior will include a panoramic glass roof, which comes in a 1,115 pounds option. Another option is usually a brand new vegan-friendly wool-based trim material, developed with Scandinavian textile company Kvadrat. It softens the within while maintaining limited feel. Can the Range Rover Velar go off-road? While the Velar probably can't manage the whole swamp driving, boulder climbing trick a full-size Range Rover can certainly still do. This doesn't have the wheel articulation and ultimate ground clearance. It's nevertheless an off-roader as with any other Land Rover product. The spec carefully lists approach and departure angles, terrain response along together with the air suspension can jack the auto up till it appears like it's on stilts, not to mention there are a million, almost, electronic systems up to speed. One would be the Intelligent Driveline Dynamics, IDD, which uses sensors that measure tire angle, throttle position, your rate and lateral acceleration to continually estimate how much grip, and distribute torque accordingly. Performance. Wide selection of engines covering power and economy. Can tow around 2,500 kilograms, with as much as 700 Newton-meters of torque. Large quantity of driving modes for each and every terrain. For the numerous who will choose the Range Rover Velar determined by looks alone, engine performance might be almost inconsequential. However, there is usually a wide SP watch usually chosen that will help tailor your Velar determined by whether you value efficiency or performance. We'll manage fuel economy separately below, but suffice to express no Velar S which you'd reasonably label slow, however some are faster than others. Range Rover Velar diesel engine choices. D180 to 2.0 litre, 180 horsepower, 430 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 8.4 seconds, 125 miles per hour top speed. D240 to 2.0 litre, 240 horsepower, 500 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds, 135 miles per hour top speed. D275 to 3.0 litre, 275 horsepower, 625 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.6 seconds, 140 miles per hour top speed. D300 to 3.0 litre, 300 horsepower, 700 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.1 seconds, 150 miles per hour top speed. The 2.0 litre engines are 4-cylinder turbodiesels, in addition to being you can see, including the slowest Velar gets from 0 to 62 miles per hour in mere 8.4 seconds. The 3.0 litre engine is really a V6, note the huge 700 Newton-meters of torque, that is great for towing and challenging off-road work, not really that we imagine many Velars will cover much on the latter. Range Rover Velar petrol engine choices. P250 to 2.0 litre, 250 horsepower, 365 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.4 seconds, 135 miles per hour top speed. P300 to 2.0 litre, 300 horsepower, 400 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds, 145 miles per hour top speed. P380 to 3.0 litre, 380 horsepower, 450 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds, 155 miles per hour top speed. Again, the two main .0 litre engines are 4-cylinder motors. These turbo petrols include the newest engines fitted from the Velar. This modernity is the slowest accelerating petrol model, almost as quick as being the fastest diesel. However, observe that even probably the most powerful 3.0-litre V6 supercharged petrol, the P380, is nearly outgunned for torque because of the least powerful diesel Velar. So if towing is really a priority, a diesel is the best bet. The P380's raw performance is unmatched, though, taking just 5.3 seconds to sprint 0 to 62 miles per hour, even though the 155 miles per hour top speed is electronically limited. 4-wheel drive and 8-speed gearbox is standard. Every Velar is included with 4-wheel drive plus an 8-speed automatic transmission as standard. While we have been impressed with the Range Rover's performance, whether or not this has a weak area, it's this gearbox. Though a lot like units utilized by other car makers, inside Velar would seem impossible to seems indecisive, hunting around for that optimum gear on twisty roads. It's also far away from being the smoothest transmission we've ever experienced, proving particularly jerky when required for a sudden downshift because of hard acceleration. It somewhat undermines the intended luxuriousness of Velar travel being a result. You usually takes manual control using paddle shifters for the steering wheel, either temporarily from the regular drive mode or permanently if activated within the sport setting. Simply secure the upshift paddle to revert to automatic. Manual shifts are reasonably responsive, however not the smoothest. And sadly the paddles are made of plastic instead of having a tactile and premium finish, for example cool aluminium. As for your 4-wheel drive system, this delivers good traction on off-road, which shows that no matter how powerful the engine you'll really get the Velar struggling for traction in regular driving. In fact, a massive array of driving modes mean you're unlikely to struggle regardless of the circumstances. We've covered these inside handling section below. Handling. Adaptive damping as standard. Plus air suspension on V6 models. Very capable on off-road. If you want one of the most satisfying SUV to push in this segment, it's simple, invest in a Porsche Macan. That said, whilst the Range Rover Velar can't match its German rival for precision and depth of handling talent, it really is nonetheless an engaging steer, and not just for the vehicle of that size. You can obviously have lots of fun driving one of these simple. Range Rover Velar, adaptive suspension. All Velars include what Land Rover calls adaptive damping technology as standard, essentially meaning the shock absorbers have variable degrees of response which could be selected a variety of kinds of driving and terrain. At this stage we've got only driven V6 engine models, though, which get the addition of air suspension as standard, enabling variable ride height as well as a greater SP watch between comfort and control. What could be the Range Rover Velar like they are driving? Taking that air suspension caveat into mind, this can be a fundamentally well-sorted machine. The control weights, for example the steering along with the brakes, are normally rather light, and don't offer quite a lot of feedback. But they didn't leave us feeling completely away from touch, and suit the generally casual nature of what is in fact supposed to be an expensive vehicle. Throw it for a country road, however, or simply a sequence of roundabouts, along with the Velar is pleased to respond with enthusiasm. Body roll occurs but not excessive, and along with a powerful engine you possibly can make rapid progress. But this can be a large, relatively long vehicle, and also you never completely escape this impression of substantial bulk from driving. We were always conscious there was plenty of Velar behind us, by way of example, and watching it through tight streets can be quite a slightly nervous affair. Parking is done easy through the available cameras. We'd recommend this as rear visibility can be a little limited. A huge selection of driving modes available. Range Rovers have famously employed a terrain response system for quite some time, which adapts to several types of surfaces and driving. What's potentially confusing is the fact that there are 3 systems with the exact same names available around the Velar. Basic terrain response provides standard on all models, and this also includes Eco, Comfort, Grass, Gravel, Snow, Mud, Ruts and Sand settings, along with an additional dynamic mode in case you opt for any sporty or dynamic version from the Velar. Each setting makes adjustments to your engine, transmission, all-wheel drive, suspension and stability control in order to help you make the simplest possible progress wherever you're driving. Long distance and off-road refinement available. On its lowest ride setting, the Velar is comfortable and intensely stable. Delve into your touchscreen menus and switch everything towards the dynamic setting as well as the car stiffens, the steering and throttle response sharpen, but don't imagine it receives a sports car. The Velar feels accurate and willing, as well as the 8-speed gearbox works well while using paddle shift. In a bid to feel rock solid and planted around the road, it never dances lightly. Instead, the Velar's setup and character suits a long distance, less frenetic pace, crossing continents at 100 miles per hour as opposed to tackling a switchback road. As section of our test out we tackled a steep rocky climb, the outer lining broken into craggy rubble. Needless to mention, the Velar drove upright, and virtually drove itself down while using latest off-road cruise control system, all-terrain progress control, ATPC. So many acronyms, they need to just replace them with Evoque. It will go anywhere, practically. More modes than you are able to shake a stick at. As an optional extra you are able to upgrade to terrain response 2, which adds an automatic setting so that you don't even should touch the controls to obtain the benefit. In addition to the present there is usually all-terrain progress control, that's described being a low-speed cruise control system that will make off-road driving easier. The idea is the fact that it allows the driving force to concentrate on steering without needing to worry about grip and traction. It doesn't matter how tricky the bottom is and whether you're increasing or downhill. Both these extras are affordable. Other driving tricks comprise of hill descent control, as you'd expect, but there's another system called low traction launch, which supports you start shifting slippery surfaces, for instance snow, where conventional stability control systems often struggle. It will likely wade 600 millimeters of water, rising to 650 millimeters together with the air suspension package. To say the least, the Velar is comprehensive. What's more, many of these functions are controlled through the Touch Pro Duo infotainment system, which manages the remarkable feat of looking astonishingly good while still proving user-friendly, intuitive and minimalist. Behind the wheel. Amazing, cutting-edge minimalist cabin. Most of computer works very well, too. Shame about some from the plastics. If you think that the Range Rover Velar looks slick about the outside, just delay until you see the inside. The clean, decidedly angular design does rather put us in mind on the 1980s, but we doubt most will complain. The most of materials within touching distance appear top quality, and what's more, despite a conscious effort at minimizing the amount of buttons, the Velar remains surprisingly simple to operate. The key to the present is undoubtedly the Touch Pro Duo infotainment system. How good will be the Touch Pro Duo infotainment system? We are widely used to car makers shifting controls into touch screens right now, but this Range Rover was the first one to shift into a twin-screen system, to split the controls inside a logical manner. Audi introduced a comparable idea with all the 2018 A8, nevertheless it lacks the Velar's combination of touchscreen and physical controls. Upon first entering the vehicle, design aside nothing appears too spectacular. But press the starter button along with the whole interior comes alive, the well-known screen and side middle in the dashboard levers itself forward, the darker part of dashboard below this illuminates and, where fitted, sunlight blind for your panoramic glass roof automatically retracts. It's quite the display, particularly if you realize that lower dark section on the dashboard is additionally a touch screen. Here you control greater important secondary functions like the climate control and also the driving mode selection. A row of tabs in the top in this display help it become easy to switch between strikes, which might be then controlled via responsive virtual buttons which are commendably all too easy to activate while driving, or perhaps the rotary controls on spare on both. Everything looks beautiful, the graphics with the different driving modes particularly, but more to the point it all works. It may take that little while for getting used to finding things, but once you do, this really is perhaps the primary touchscreen control system that really improves on conventional buttons. Range Rover's sat-nav still not perfect. Continuing this button-free form, the controls for the steering wheel are touch-sensitive also, while there's another screen to the instruments in preference to conventional dials, as well as a multi-function head-up display available being an option. We did obtain the sat-nav system's routing options occasionally curious. During one journey its optimum route was 45 minutes over the one suggested by Google Maps, and that's not since it was doing anything clever with traffic alerts. Some low-quality plastics. While the impression from the Velar can be quite high, you will discover some cheaper feeling plastics, particularly about the seat bases, as you'll discover if you come to adjust the seats, and also the lower door areas. Considering top-end Velar list prices exceed £80,000, with finance costs to fit, that is bordering for the unacceptable. But we suspect most buyers will overlook these concerns due to the exceptional experience elsewhere inside the cabin, once accustomed to how the twin-screen setup works. Comfort. Air suspension results in generally comfy ride. Doesn't completely smother bumps, though. Refinement significantly less hushed as we'd hoped. All versions with the Range Rover Velar can be purchased with adaptive suspension, plus a comfort mode. Air suspension systems are often considered nice thing about it for comfort, trading away some handling decisiveness because of this very advantage. That is the case here. For probably the most part this Range Rover is really a comfortable SUV. Journeys of varied 100 miles may be completed without the sign of physical complaint. It takes an extremely rough road indeed to upset the Velar's equilibrium, which can be good news for individuals who rack up large mileages. It doesn't entirely soothe away rough surfaces, though, which means you will find that lumps and bumps do send a rare shockwave from the cabin, plus it does appear slightly jarring reacting to these. The large wheel choices, alloys approximately 22 inches in diameter can be obtained, don't ease this issue. It's up to you to decide whether you desire to trade as part of your concept car looks to get a smoother ride, by specifying smaller wheels. Another slightly disappointing aspect could be the refinement. We've driven several versions around the large 21-inch alloy wheels, as well as a lot of road noise was present from the cabin. Similarly, we weren't especially enthralled because of the V6 engine's bellowing sounds when accelerating, plus the 4-cylinder diesel's not enough finesse. Any expectations of your hushed, isolated driving environment are quickly crushed, though that is relative, so regarding cars generally, the Velar continues to be pretty quiet. It's merely quite as quiet because the luxurious interior and premium exterior might cause you to expect. The optional massage function for the front seats is additionally rather lame through the latest standards, so sadly it is possible to seek solace in this. The using sustainable, premium textile upholstery for an alternative leather is often a nice touch. This is usually a dapple grey finish developed that has a high-end design textiles maker called Kvadrat. Leather does remain open to those who want to buy. Equipment. Twin-screen media system is standard, but no sat-nav about the base model. Our dynamic package a vital optional extra. The Range Rover Velar can be purchased in 4 trim levels, together with limited first edition at launch, and also a choice of standard and our dynamic finishes. Here's what you'll receive as standard. Standard Range Rover Velar SUV equipment. 8-speed automatic transmission. All-wheel drive. Terrain response with torque vectoring. Adaptive suspension. 18-inch alloy wheels. LED headlights. Heated front seats. Heated acoustic windscreen. Automatic lights and wipers. Cruise control. Keyless entry. Bluetooth. DAB radio. In-control Touch Pro Duo infotainment system. Choose the Velar so you'll buy. 19-inch alloy wheels. air suspension, only on V6 models. Auto-dimming exterior mirrors. Premium LED headlights with auto high beam. Powered tailgate with gesture control. Leather upholstery. 10-way electric front seats. 380 watts Meridian sound system HiFi upgrade. Satellite navigation. Wi-Fi hotspot. Rear view camera. Progress into a Velar say and equipment includes 20-inch alloy wheels. Matrix LED headlights with intelligent high beam assist. 825 watts Meridian surround system HiFi upgrade. 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. 360-degree parking aid. Topping the normal range could be the Velar HSE. It adds 21-inch alloy wheels. Higher quality Windsor leather upholstery. Extended leather interior. 20-way powered seat adjustment. Massage and climate front seats. Satin chrome interior detailing. Power adjustable steering column. Flagship in the launch range will be the Velar First Edition, building upon the HSE's kit roster while using our dynamic exterior pack. Optional Range Rover Velar SUV extras. The prime optional extra for many Range Rover Velars would be the R-Dynamic package. Available along the range, it's fitted as standard within the First Edition. This adds a much more aggressive external appearance plus a amount of other extra styling details, and it is expected to be very popular inside UK. Usually, probably the most expensive upholstery finish from the Velar isn't leather, but a specially developed premium textile intended to be a sustainable alternative. This is available individually so that as part of an upgrade pack, you will find leather luxury packs available, too. Other interesting options include laser headlights, for especially long high beam performance, and off-road upgrades that cover anything from terrain response to some locking rear differential. Safety. 6 airbags and as standard. More active tech fitted on higher trim levels. 5-star Euro NCAP rating. The Range Rover Velar covers the many safety basics. Autonomous emergency braking, lane departure warning, along with a comprehensive suite of stability control systems are fitted as standard. You get 6 airbags, power-operated child locks as well as a brake pad wear sensor. More adventurous types will appreciate that hill descent control, hill launch assist, gradient release control and low traction launch are typical standard along the Velar range too. You get automatic high beam, some help from Velar S upwards, while say adds blind spot monitors, traffic sign recognition, adaptive speed limiter, rear cross traffic alert along with a driver condition monitor. HSE gets more active with adaptive cruise control, plus blind spot assist and lane keeping assist, because both versions actively intervene to help keep you in lane and get away from merging with all the vehicle near to you. When crash tested through the experts at Euro NCAP in 2017, the Velar achieved a 5-star rating, its 74% score for pedestrian safety being good to get a high-rise SUV. How many ISOFIX child car seats can I fit within a Range Rover Velar SUV? Just both, around the outer rear seats. The ISOFIX sockets may be accessible though, instead of buried deep involving the seats, then there is plenty of room inside the back to maneuver your kids into position. Interior and boot space. Given how big is the Velar looks in the outside and exactly how long it feels from when driving, the inner space for people is really a little underwhelming to start with. 4 adults could make themselves reasonably comfortable. There is however not an enormous volume of rear knee room, and anyone forced into your middle fifth seat may find themselves straddling the transmission tunnel. Not suitable for longer journeys. Cabin storage is okay instead of good, but you can find plenty of USB sockets for hooking up mobile phones. There are a few interesting optical illusions going on together with the Velar's exterior. It looks long and narrow, yet at merely over 4.8 meters is far away from being the longest SUV around, while its 2.1 meters width from mirror tip to mirror tip is really rather broad. In short, you'll desire a big garage in the event you're going to tuck it away every evening. Parking requires care, however, with plenty of sensors and cameras to be had, technology makes light work of the majority of spaces. The Range Rover Velar will not be short of boot space, and that's when you fold the trunk seats flat, which adds over 1,000 litres more flat pack furniture capacity. Not that Range Rover buyers buy flat pack furniture. Antiques, possibly, if clichés should be believed. Making life even sweeter, you will find multiple fold-out curry hooks within the boot at the same time, plus load restraint rails available just as one option. Shame the trunk seats don't fold totally flat, though.